Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Looks Like We Made It. I'm Izzy Howell and I'm joined by my dad Chris to talk all things video marketing. We are the father and daughter who run the fabulous video production company Howell Film, and each week we will be discussing everything like what happens behind the scenes on our projects, getting results from your video content, how to start using video in your business, and plenty more to come. We will be joined by some wonderful special guests, including our own awesome clients from all kinds of industries, as well as our own film crew and even our own family to candidly converse about creativity. On this episode, we are answering the question, why do I need a film? So without further ado, let's get started. And of course, never miss an episode every Tuesday by giving us a follow or subscribe, as well as finding Howell Film on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Let's go.
Okay, so hello everyone. So why do I need a film? Well, I assume we are talking about films for business at this point.
Yeah, or events, or
events.
I mean, we've been asked this question quite a few times by businesses who may be thinking, oh, I've done something a certain way for quite some time, or I'm just starting out. Why do I need it rather than want it? And I think that's
Well, I mean. The first thing I would say to anyone that asks me that question is, have you ever seen a film?
I hope so.
and they would say, what do you mean? And I would say, well, you can probably tell me about it. You can probably remember it, whether that's a Hollywood movie or whether that's something that a product video you saw on YouTube or something, whatever it is, whatever film, video, wherever it is, you've seen it, you've remembered it, it's had an impact on you, and it's pushed an emotional button somewhere along the way. And the other thing I would say is, have you ever been on social media? And they would say, well, yeah. I mean, assuming that most people have. And I'd say, well, what have you looked at? And they say, oh, we've looked at videos. Okay, and we've looked at pictures. Great, we prefer them moving, but obviously photos are also magnificent. And I say, okay, what do you remember from those videos? And they say, oh yeah, they're very clever. Some people get right to the point. And I say, well, what did you do? And they would say, oh well, I read more. I clicked on it. I learnt about it. I know about it. And in essence, they've answered the question. Their business needs to be part of that, because if they're not part of that revolution, if they're not part of that fast flowing, film is everywhere, film is part of the landscape of modern business. If they're not part of that, they're not in it. They're just doing stuff in their old ways. And I also believe that it's great. I mean, marketing and sales and looking after your customers and word of mouth and networking, all these things are brilliant, and I wouldn't diss anything that anybody does. But what I would say is, if you're not in everything, you're almost inevitably in a decaying orbit. It's a bit like, oh, well, we solely do A5 leaflets that we send out religiously week in, week out. Well, the point is, those leaflets, it's inevitable that you are in this decaying orbit, as I say, because they're going to have less return. There's going to be an increasingly less return on that investment, and that's where being at the forefront, being part of something, and it can be unique. They're all different. It's you. It's tailoring your message, your brand, your product, your service, whatever it is. You can channel that, and that's where film is magnificent.
Well, absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the question for today. Answered.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm joking. No, it was good. No, I think it's that, and it's the shareability. I mean, I love the idea that it's what we said a couple of years ago, which was that you've never put a stamp on a brochure and sent it to a friend to look at. It's that shareability aspect that's really, really important. I mean, social media obviously has been around for 10 years, and it's more than that, I think, by now. It's a bit of a wild west, and it's sometimes quite difficult to navigate, particularly if you're a business that might have a customer base that you think, well, my customers don't typically use social media, or they're not interested, it's not their demographic. you're already dismissing the fact that you could be reaching other demographics, other audiences, other people who do use it and who do want to use this video content and consume it. It's so broad. I mean, that's where we found as Howell Film is that you can use film for anything. And that was where, when we were trying to decide for ourselves and our own marketing, how do we convey this message, is that you really can film anything, and as long as the message is there and the strategy is there behind it, it can always kind of be powerful and reach an audience. But interestingly, recently, I mean, as of the date of this podcast, Instagram have come out and made an official statement saying that they are actively trying to move away from image sharing altogether. They want to rival TikTok, they want to rival YouTube.
A video platform.
They want to become a video platform, and not only a video platform, but a video platform that promotes short 60-second maximum videos that are often created by creators or small businesses. So if you're a small business and you're wanting to get a lot of reach and a lot of eyes on your product, it wouldn't make sense to not be doing that. That's the thing that we're saying. It makes good business sense to make that decision.
Well, the same applies to Google, doesn't it? That insofar, I mean, Google gets hit with billions and billions of search requests every minute, and Google will try and deliver a video-based answer when it can. So now people probably have noticed that when you search for things, that there's often a video option, and they even drill down now, so that you're searching for something very specific. I don't know how to wire a plug, whatever it'll be. It will find you a video, and it'll even find you, pinpoint the point within that video that you're being taught that. So they're drilling down into videos. And again, that takes it one step further. And also the beauty of video is that it can be so immediate. You can say, actually, we've got a product, we've got a service. We can actually put it out there at a time of our choosing. We can decide when we premiere this. We can decide when, we can almost manage our own audience. And then that works the other way, that you've also got a shop front that's open 24/7. So I think that the question shouldn't necessarily be why do I need video. Is almost, we could almost flip this on its head and say, give me a credible reason why anybody wouldn't use video.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing.
Is that next week?
Well, I can scribble it out and re-record it. But no, I think that's the thing, and it works in so many different capacities. That's a question that often, if you're thinking, why do I need a film, is often to think, what problem am I trying to solve? So maybe your problem that you're trying to solve is you're not getting enough leads, or you're not building maybe a warm bridge between you and your customers. You're not training your staff in a quick enough time. You're not completing things or doing things in a certain way that should be happening. And film can often act as a solution to that, because getting a message across is quite hard to do through long paragraphs of text, because now often we're looking at our mobile phones, we're looking at our palms a lot of the time, we're looking at a screen in front of us. That immediacy of, I want to know this information right now, I want to know the answer. We ask our Googles, we ask our Alexas, we ask people for an immediate answer. The urge to sit and read an entire length of prose or whatever it may be only applies to a certain amount of people who are willing to do that. The people, if you have maybe a website or a landing page that's only text, you're only appealing to the customers that are interested in reading that text, if that makes sense. Yeah. You're immediately dismissing the people who maybe don't have time to do that or want a quick answer. And by having a 2-minute video, people might be going, oh, okay, 2 minutes, I can use that to find out what the answer is, or what this business does, or what it can do for me, rather than sitting and reading for 5-10 minutes, whatever Absolutely. It may be.
And the other thing as well is there's nothing like video insofar as that it can work on so many sizes and so many platforms. There's nothing else I can think of that, you can have a tiny screen, an inch across. You can have a phone, an iPad, a computer, a laptop. You can play it on a TV, a small TV, a big TV, the side of a truck. You can put it on a massive IMAX screen. There's very few communication tools that work across so many platforms. I mean, that's kind of, it's almost, it's when you're as old as me, which is ancient. It's kind of like, it's almost space age, It's incredible that you can deliver that message in such a, in so many ways across so many platforms, and also you can make essentially quite boring things sometimes really quite interesting. You can bring things alive. You can, maybe some animation, an exploded view of a piece of kit, or whatever it'll be, some sort of motion graphics, or you can actually really add sparkle. You can really add some sort of fairy dust to often quite dry topics as well. So there's never been a communication device like film, like TV. It really gets, it bites into your soul. There's something about.
That was dramatic.
Do you like that? It kind of
bites into your soul.
Well, it does, doesn't it?
In a good way.
In a good way. Yeah, but you know what I mean, though. That music does it as well. That you get an instant, deep response, and that's not just kind of like, oh wow, that documentary or that bit of film blew me away. You can apply those techniques to films for business. You can apply those techniques to filming an event. You can apply those techniques to engaging perhaps with some young people in education or whatever it might be. And that's why film, it's never all been done. It's a bit like why are there loads of great new bands out there? Why is there loads of great new music? Why are people desperate to make music? And the same applies to film and video and any sort of visually engaging platform like that, because there's loads more to do. There's loads more to discover. There's loads more boundaries to be pushed. And technology, when we think of the resolutions we're working in, 4K, 6K, 8K, 12K, and I guess it's inevitable we're going to be here talking about our new 48K camera in the next 5 years or whatever it might be. But equally, totally immersive experiences are coming on stream. VR, AI, all that sort of stuff. So I think weirdly, we're only at the start of what's possible for visual and audio communication tools. I think we're almost like, it's an amazing time to be part of this industry. It's an amazing time to be alive. You know what I'm saying though, that actually, as you can probably gather, I'm quite passionate about the topic.
No, I think that, well, no, it's good because you work in it, so
yes,
exactly.
That's
good. But I think that, because I was looking up at what was the first ever TV advert in this country, and it was in 1955 for toothpaste, and that was the first ever time that a company thought, okay, I need to be on a screen, and actually this is a good idea. I'd want to know what that toothpaste company were thinking, whether the person behind the idea was at a cinema or watching something going, I could use this. But that was happening 65 odd years ago. But we've known TV adverts our whole lives. We've grown up with them, and they're generational in the sense that, well, your generation and my generation remember different adverts, but when you look at them, it's nostalgic. It brings back memories and thoughts, and it makes you think, oh God, that's incredible, and you really remember jingles and things that get stuck in your head. But the beauty of that is that, yes, that type of marketing has been around since 1955, but beyond that, that's now accessible to every business. Initially, it was just for businesses who could afford a big budget to be on airtime, or have a slot between the football or something. It was often just reserved for the businesses who could afford that. But now there's room for businesses or brand new businesses, entrepreneurs, anyone, to be using that technology and speaking to an audience. Because we have heard, well, in the past, I've had the excuse, should we say, of my business isn't interesting enough to be on camera, or it's just me in my office on my own. Why is that interesting? And because we're not just going to come in and just film you sat at your desk, or it's our job to think, how is your audience going to respond to this, and how can we make that what you want it to be? How do we make that exciting, and how do we bring out the best in your business? We're not there to make people sort of make them do things they don't want to do. No, but what I mean is that we find solutions and we find ways to make even industries that maybe people initially think, oh, that's not very exciting, interesting and fun and engaging to their audience.
Yeah, and also just because something's not potentially that interesting to one person, it might be the most fascinating thing to someone else. And I mean, it's ultimately all boils down to the narrative. Essentially, whether it's a 10-second snippet type advert that we've put together for social media or whatever, or whether it's a full-blown heavyweight documentary series, ultimately it all boils down to the narrative. It all boils down to telling a story. And it's interesting that you said, well, adverts go back 60 odd years on TV. But storytelling,
absolutely.
We're getting deep here. But storytelling as people goes back thousands, tens of thousands.
Well, here's
of years.
an interesting fact for you, seeing as we're going, as I'm a history nerd and I like these things. They discovered, I don't know where I read it, I'll have to find it. They discovered that, those cave paintings where it would be people and animals on the walls in caves, they actually discovered that they were designed to move. So people would sit and gather and someone would be holding a fire or some kind of light source, and they'd move the light, and that painting was designed to dance. So people would sit and watch these paintings.
Watching a moving image from
caveman times.
10,000
So people were trying to make images move to engage an audience in thousands of years ago, using
we need to get our facts straight to how many thousands of years ago. Many
years ago, people were using light and
that's fantastic,
and art to make it move, and people would watch it, and obviously that would engage them, and maybe they're grunting excitement, but it's that act of creating something visual to capture people's attention has been around, I think, since humans have done anything. Interesting fact.
That's a great fact. I like that. Well, that's
we don't offer that as a service, by the way.
Well, we could do cave painting with light. We could have a go at doing a modern equivalent. We could have a go, put it in the studio and do something. We could do that.
It's the early start to stuff like, people would do shadow performances and then projectors sort of stuff. I know in the Victorian times they'd have a sheet and a light, and someone would move characters and stuff like that. And it's that visual. I mean, humans have that visual need to want to see something that excites them and captures their attention. We've all watched something that we can't take our eyes off, and that's where binge watching even comes from, and that sort of thing.
And capturing their attention, that's a great line there, because as attention spans, we're told, I don't know if it's true or not, but we're told attention spans are getting less and less, and the average person spends half a millisecond on a website, and the average person and all that sort of caper. Well, actually, you can grab people's attention with something visually appealing. You can deliver a message very quickly. You can set a scene very quickly with film and with animation. You can really set out your stall instantaneously. And when you attach that notion to a series of things, that you leave the recipient wanting to see more, and that would apply to your binge watching thing you were just
absolutely.
saying. Obviously, I go to bed at 9:30, so
me too.
So binge watching isn't my thing. It is actually, but you know what I'm saying, that actually you can tell a story through film and through video, but actually you can tell a bigger, longer story by the sequencing of it, by the delivering it over time, as I say, leaving the recipient really wanting to see more and learn more.
Absolutely. I think when we end up being assigned a project by a business or an event, whatever it may be, we really try and understand what message and what audience they're making that for, because without it, that's where, if you've not had success with video in the past, that's normally the diagnosis, if you will. It's because there hasn't been a direct audience or sort of strategy behind it. But that's something that our filmmakers have to consider when they make each shot. So each shot that we do has always got that message and that audience in mind. And also as an editor as well, when I get a series of parts or footage or an audio, and it's all a bit random on the page almost. It's a bit like all the puzzle pieces in a box. It's my job to think, okay, what was that initial message? What was that initial idea? What is it that this business wants to achieve? And I consider that when I think about what audio we use, what music we use, what pace we use, what length it is. All of these things all come into that thing of who is this for and why are we doing it? And if that is a question that you are thinking about and that you want to pursue further, we can help you answer that question, and professionals can do 100%. That. And so to sum up, why do I need a film? Because why not?
Why do you need a film? Because why not? You must have a film. You must realise that your business or your thing or whatever it is, whether it's a business, an event, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. If you want to share, if you've got a message to get out there and you want to share it with an audience in a clear, concise, visually appealing method, video is it. There is no other better method than that.
Brilliant. Wow, that answers our question. So that's where I think we should leave it there
Let's
today.
Leave it there.
Any other things you want to add?
I'd like to add, if anything that we've said today has piqued your interest, what I suggest you do is to have a conversation with a creative professional. Have a conversation with a designer, a videographer, a music maker, whoever, because generally speaking, they're really passionate about their topic, and you can some of that will rub off, and I think that you can get energized about the benefits of creativity in your business.
Brilliant. That's it. I can't top that. So I'll leave that there. So last question, last but not least, completely off topic.
Okay.
It's a very serious question, so I want a very serious answer.
Okay. Definite promotion this year.
Yeah, absolutely. If you had a choice between fighting 10 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck, what would you choose?
If I had a choice between fighting 10...
I've asked this question to many people.
If I had a choice between fighting 10 duck-sized horses...
or 1 horse-sized duck.
Oh, I'd just kick the duck horses.
Okay. That tends to be the option, but I feel like I'd be quite overcrowded.
Although you could get 1 punch in on a duck-sized horse.
That was my argument. I feel like you'd be quite overcrowded.
No, a horse-sized duck.
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh no, maybe a horse-sized duck, because I love eggs. That'd be incredible.
That would be one big soldiers.
This is a serious podcast.
This is a very serious. But that was a question that
you.
I've been thinking about for a very long time, and I'm only getting very serious answers. So that was it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. Please give us a follow and a subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. And find us, Howell Film, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter or LinkedIn. We release a new episode every Tuesday for many more amazing stuff to come. So thanks, Dad. That was it. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.